What is going on? Hey, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Cole Taylor, and if I don't know you, I'm a health and performance coach to entrepreneurs and executives. And we started this channel for two reasons. Is one, because I've gone through a ton of loss in my life. I've lost every single one of my family members except one from health-related complications. My father, my mother, my grandparents, my uncles. I've lost so many people, and most of them because of heart failure. And the reality is I don't want you to go through that as well. I don't want you to end your life early because you didn't take care of your health. I don't want your family to have to go through what I've gone through. And I'm super passionate about health because I want others to live a full life. But number two is we've started and created a health coaching company that's now helped over 50,000 clients just like you to not only be around for their families, but to increase their energy levels, to increase their performance, to increase their output, to get in better shape, to feel better, to look better, all of these things together. And with that, we've learned a ton of lessons that I would love to be able to impart to you so that you can get those same type of results. So you're not only around for longer, but your life today can be extremely full. Your business can produce more. Your family can have more of you. You can have more energy, more confidence, more mental clarity. So the hope for this channel is to give you those lessons and to prevent you from ending your life early or to not have the fullest life possible for you. And this episode today is exactly along the lines of that. We're talking the topic of gut health. I have an interview we're about to jump to with a good friend of mine, Nicole Trautman, who is a gut health expert who has helped hundreds and hundreds of clients on the very specific topic of gut health and how your gut leads to overarching health in your whole body, how disease prevention happens in your gut, how your brain performance is directly correlated to your gut health because there's a nerve called the vagus nerve that connects. So the foods we eat correlate to brain performance, less disease, more energy, and actually more peace. We talk about how serotonin is produced in the gut. So this episode is super, super valuable on what food should I be eating? What things should I be doing? What tests should I be getting done so that I can have the most optimal gut health. And so long-term, I can have the best brain performance, the best overall health and longevity. So tune into this episode and I'll see you on the other side. Starting Line Podcast is designed to get you off of the sidelines. Today, I've got a special guest that I'm going to give you more information about. We got a super cool topic we're going to talk about on using gut health to accelerate your results so you can feel better, you can perform better, you can get better physical results. Let's dive into today's topic of using gut health to accelerate your results. She helps people get physical results like I do, but it just has a very specific specialization in gut health. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Starting Line. I want to introduce our special guest, Nicole Trautman. Round of applause for everybody listening. I might be the only one clapping, but if you're in your car, you can pretend like you're clapping and make me happy. Nicole, you want to say hello and then tell everybody who you are and give a little background?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me here, Cole. My name is Nicole Trautman, and I am actually located in Saskatchewan, Canada. So wonderful, Canada. I have been an online coach for well over 8 years, in the health and fitness industry for close to 12 years. My expertise in gut health happened when I experienced my own huge gut health, digestive system, poor mental health, physical health, emotional health kind of geared me towards just specializing in that. So I have went to many doctors appointments, hospital trips, thinking that I had issues. No one could help me. So I just kind of took everything into my own hands and kind of focused on doing it myself and very specific dieting, elimination diets, things like that. And once I was able to kind of know what I needed to do to heal my own digestive system and focus on that, I explored more of holistic nutrition. So I have obtained my holistic nutrition diploma, and that's kind of where I specialize in, and that's where my business is based around. So that's my passion. And we don't just obviously focus on gut health, but it's like a big thing with a lot of clients. They don't know that they have gut issues, and then they're like, oh yeah, I don't go to the bathroom every day, I go every 4 days. It's like, well, that's not normal, and you need to be going to the bathroom because that's unhealthy. So a lot of clients and a lot of individuals understand that like gut health is very, very important, and we want to say your gut is your second brain. So if your second brain isn't working properly, your main brain probably isn't working properly. So yeah.
So good. I love it. Well, first off, can you give a little bit deeper background on some of the issues you were seeing with your gut health and then now the changes that you've seen from fixing that stuff? because I want to give a little context for people of what issues does this involve when we talk about gut health. Is this digestion? Is this like bloating? Like what kind of things are we talking about with gut health? And then what did you see in your history?
Yeah, so the main thing that I was dealing with was constipation. So I was an athlete before, and I dieted hard and I ate unhealthy foods. One of the biggest things was for myself is that I used to eat for pleasure, not for purpose. So when you eat for pleasure, you're eating things because it tastes good. If it's in a package, if it's processed, if it says like low sugar, low fat, low carb, whatever, like that's not always the best option because it's usually altered in a way, or it has additive preservatives or artificial ingredients added to it, which is going to be harder for the body to break down and digest. So basically with me is like I worked at supplement stores, and anytime like a supplement would come in, or like a chocolate protein bar or a new protein bar or anything, I would always be like wanting to try it. So my diet consisted a lot of processed items as well as like artificial sweeteners. And over years, that wreaked havoc on my digestive system,
Mm.
as well as like not eating a healthy amount of like healthy fats or good amount of fiber to get things moving
Mm.
along. So one of the biggest things was constipation, where I had to use things to assist me to go to the bathroom because I just wanted
Yeah.
some relief because I was gassy, I was bloated. Um, if I went out and had something like that was off my, like not a whole food. So say if I went out and had like a cheeseburger and fries, or if I had like an ice cream cone, I
Mm.
would feel so inflamed. I would have such bad belly aches, belly pains. There would be like I would be so inflamed. Probably I would, some days I would gain like anywhere from 4 to 5 pounds just in one sitting of eating one of those meals the next day. And there were many times even when I would just eat regular whole foods that my belly would hurt so bad that like I was in such severe pain that like that's where I was like, something's wrong. I need to go to the hospital. So I
Gosh.
went through like tests and everything to kind of figure it out. And doctors would just say, drink more water, eat more fiber, things like that. Right. And I'm like, well, no,
Yeah.
because I'm doing that.
Sure.
So just like, yeah, so inflammation, chronic inflammation, poor mental health. Like there's days where I wouldn't want to leave my house because I felt so uncomfortable with myself.
Yeah.
I would not want to like dress up or anything like that. Like I said, constipation, just abdominal pain, brain fog, no energy, low
Yeah.
confidence, all those things.
Goodness. Well, so I think if you're listening to this, you're hearing like gut health can be at the source of a lot of issues that you might be facing in your journey. It may be like major painful issues like Nicole was having of digestion or constipation or bloating or gassiness. And those are very like on the surface prevalent, like I have to fix these now. But I think, and I want Nicole, you to explain a little bit of this too for them. A lot of, and maybe this is a guy girl thing. I think our guys tend to lean towards this a little more, and the girls care more about the bloating because guys just like, I don't know if we just don't care about being bloated or I don't know. But I think the guys tend to lean more towards like, hey, how do I have more energy? How does my mindset be more clear? We have a lot of entrepreneurial women we work with too, and they like this as well. But it seems to be more of a male focused thing. What do you see as far as energy changes and mindset and mental clarity from some of the fixes you can make with gut health too? Is it like, hey, you get way more energy? Is it the brain fog goes away? What does that look like when you start to fix these things?
Yeah. So basically, well, I'm going to give a little bit of overview so people can kind of
Yeah,
understand a little bit more. So, like,
please.
what is the gut? Like, we want to talk about the gut. So, when you hear gut, it's like, what does that mean? Is that your stomach? Like, is that like like, what part of that stomach is it? So, when we think about the gut or like the GI tract, it's a long tube. So that it starts in your mouth. So, as soon as you start chewing your food, that's like the first step of digestion. So, one thing I want to point out right away is like if you are rushed and you are not chewing your food, you are causing more stress on your digestive system to try and break that food down, which can cause bloating and
Mm.
gas. So chewing is step one of digestion. So the GI tract or the gut starts in the mouth and it ends at your butt. So it consists of several different organs. So when you think of like the gut, it includes your mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, and then your anus. So and inside there is billions and trillions of microorganisms that are actually living, including bacteria, fungus, things like that. And those things in there, let's like all the microorganisms and the fungus and the bacteria, we can think about that as your garden. So that garden is your microbiome, and that's like the fungus and everything living inside of that whole gut or GI tract. So when we refer to the microbiome, we want to understand that there are live living organisms in our
Wow.
body, and the majority of these live organisms are in your gut, and they are found in your whole gut, and that's why we want to call it your second brain, because all these live organisms are in there. And these organisms and these all these bacteria, they are going to like play a vital role in how your body responds, how you act, how it supplies energy to you. It's like this, your gut is influenced by like your diet, your lifestyle. It's going to affect your overall health, your overall immunity, things like that. So when we think of the word like gut health, I'm sure a lot of things will come to mind. Like everyone's going to think something different. But what gut health is like when we think about it, it's referring to like the overall health of your digestive system. So the digestive system from the mouth to the butt, like how is your garden? How are you taking care of your garden? How healthy is it? When you have a garden outside, do you let it sit there all summer long and not take care of it? Well, no, then what's the point of having a garden? You're not watering it, you're not fertilizing it, you're not picking the weeds. So you think about your digestive tract the same way as you would think of your garden. So you need to water it, you need to feed it, you need to fertilize it, you need to get rid of the toxins and weed it. So like when you're like weeding your own garden, it's like, yeah, that's releasing the waste. So if you're constipated, like that waste is sitting in your belly, and it's putting horrible harmful fumes back into your body and causing inflammation. And it can also cause like constipation. That's going to cause like brain fog, all those things. Like we can also look at things that are going to be more severe, as in like SIBO, or you can have things as some of the digestive concerns that you can have that are going to be long term if you don't deal with your digestive health. Can lead to like chronic inflammation that can be like then you're going to need surgery on down the road, right? So it's things that you want to take care of. And a healthy gut. So when you're looking at like the males, like if they're like, I want more energy, I want to feel better, I have no energy when I do my workouts. But the thing is like when you have a healthy gut, it's essential for proper digestion, nutrients absorption, and overall functioning of the body. So if your gut is not healthy, your body is not functioning properly.
Mm,
So just think about that. Like your gut's not healthy, you're not feeling your gut properly, your mental health is affected, your physical health is affected, your emotional health is affected. Poor gut health can lead to a variety of issues. And this is going to be, like I said, digestive problems, malnutrition, because you're not absorbing that food. So if you are on a meal plan with Cole and you're like, man, I'm eating so good, I'm eating so healthy, I'm eating all my food, but I have no energy. I have no energy. I can't hit my PR. I can't do this. But you're bloated and you're gassy and you're maybe not taking care of your digestive system. It's because your body is not absorbing the
right.
nutrients and the vitamins and the minerals from all that food that you are eating, because you have some internal inflammation, or your microorganisms are not healthy, or they're not functioning properly, which is going to affect like which can be affected by sleep, stress, which I know is a big thing,
Yeah,
also exercise, medications. So a lot of things can alter the health of your gut microbiome.
it's great. So I think, for people listening to this, maybe they didn't have this understanding, but the first thing they need to understand is like the gut is connected to everything. And if you guys have heard of the Hippocratic Oath, what medical professionals say whenever they get their licensing, that's named after Hippocrates. And he's quoted as saying, "Is all disease begins in the gut." It's like, so if that doesn't do it for you, like it's the foundation of everything. And so I think that's one pillar of foundation that I want people to understand from what you're saying is like, there's a lot more than just constipation or, bloating that comes from the gut. It's connected to everything. But two, for people that want to perform better and feel better and have energy and less brain fog, like the gut is a huge piece of this. You've called this your second brain a couple times, but I think you also mentioned the brain gut connection. Describe that for me, the connection between the brain and the gut, and how that really begins to affect how our brain performs and our energy levels.
Yeah, so when we refer to that, we say that. So if you're familiar with serotonin, serotonin is like the our hormone that is secreted when it gives us the happy, and it
Mhm.
makes us feel good and joyful and stuff like that. So more than 80% of the serotonin in your body is created in your gut. So you can put it together. So if you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you have ADHD, if you have ADD, if you have anxiety, um, one thing I would say is take a look at your gut health and your diet and switch some things there, because if your microorganisms and all of the bacteria, if there's an imbalance of the bacteria in your gut, then your serotonin is not being flourished like it should be, right? So then it's going to affect your mental health and your physical health. So when we look at like the gut, there is good bacteria and there's also bad bacteria, and we want it to be balanced, right? So there's also something called like leaky gut, which I'm pretty positive that that's what I had. I wasn't diagnosed with it, but leaky gut is like when you're so we're going to think about like the gut, so the whole gut, right? So you have intestinal walls and barriers of your intestines, and if you are not reducing your stress or exercising, or you're not taking care of your gut health and you're not eating a healthy, well balanced diet, those intestinal walls can become very weak, and then openings happen, and then that's where leaky gut happens, meaning that like the good and the bad bacteria are going to be able to flow in and out, and then that's when like toxins come in. Like, so if you have like waste that's like sitting in your belly that's not being secreted, like, and you have openings in your intestinal walls, like that's where like the toxins can come in and out, and that causes leaky gut, where it's like anything that you eat is going to cause you bloating and digestive issues. That's where you're going to have inflammation, chronic pain, brain fog, because everything's like leaking in and out of the gut, where you want those intestinal walls to be very, very strong and rigid. And with a healthy diet, you can change that. You can change that, reducing the stress. You can change that. And then that means when those intestinal walls are very strong and rigid, then your serotonin is going to be able to do what it's going to do, and all of the serotonin is going to be able to establish, and you're going to notice better mental health, better mood, more energy, because you're absorbing the nutrients and it's staying in there, and it's not having that bad balance of the good and the bad bacteria.
That's so enlightening. I want you guys to hear that again. 80% of your serotonin, the thing that makes you feel good and happy and at peace, the hormone that's released for that is from your gut. And so if your gut health is not in order, it's affecting how you actually feel on a day-to-day basis. And we wonder why when we eat junk food, we feel terrible. It's not just because it doesn't have the right nutrients or is bad for you. It's because it's actually destroying the environment that creates the hormones that allow you to feel good. And so I want everyone listening to this to hear like two sides of what she's saying. Again, one is that gut health is more than just constipation and you being gassy. It's a big part of it. Not that's not important. It's everything. But two, it affects way more than just a physical health. Like it's a great demonstration of outer world affecting or being affected by your inner world. Is that if the inside of your gut is not properly working, like it's going to affect everything else around you. It's going to affect your energy levels, your happiness, your anxiety levels, your ability to focus. And so, gut health is such an important thing for us. It's why we've made it a big piece of what we started to do. It's obviously why Nicole gets amazing results for her clients too. And more than just losing weight, it's feeling good again. And I've seen her testimonials of people. Question for you is, let's say someone is experiencing, maybe some major one of the things we've talked about of digestion issues, bloating, constipation, or lack of energy, lack of mental clarity, where would you tell them to start? Is there testing that they should get? Is there some things they should try eliminating or doing? Like kind of what's some good next steps if people are wanting to fix some of these issues?
Yeah, so I would say right away, look at your diet, right? So if you're eating a highly processed diet, if you're eating a lot of inflammatory oils, if you're eating a lot of deep fried foods, when I say like processed foods, like are your foods prepackaged? Like you want to see like you want to eat whole foods, and those whole foods have the best nutrients. And so that's something I would look at right away is like your diet. If you can get testing done to look if you have food sensitivities, I would say great. I know there's a cost attached to that. But I would say like the best thing for you is to do like what I do with my clients is we don't do testing. I always start with an elimination diet. So like removing the common irritation foods that most people are sensitive to or have food sensitivity or an intolerance to. So that would be like dairy, wheat, corn, whey, things like that. And usually, it's crazy because lots of times clients are eating these things and it's causing an inflammation,
Yeah.
and they are like, I can't lose weight. And then they come to us and we remove those items. And like in the first like week, they're down like 4 to 5 pounds. It's not 4 to 5 pounds of fat. It's just inflammation and fluid retention that they have been holding on to. And they're like, I wasn't able to lose 5 pounds for years. It starts in the gut. So, like, again, if you're struggling to lose weight, but you're like, I'm eating healthy, well, maybe there's something that maybe you're eating Greek yogurt every single day, and that's the culprit to your inflammation, right? Like, I know that you maybe have this Greek yogurt bowl that you absolutely love, but like maybe that's the culprit and you need to remove it.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is, like, it's not that you can't eat those favorite foods forever, or like you have to remove them forever. When you do an elimination diet, like, you remove those common irritation foods, and then you wait like 4 to 6 weeks of like a really strict, clean, whole food diet. One other thing I want to mention is, like, when I say like processed, it means like artificial sweeteners. Like, when you look at artificial sweeteners, it's like protein bars. Are you getting Splendas in your coffee? Like, that's artificial sweeteners. It's
Mhm.
artificial. It is mechanically made. So when it's artificial, it's harder for the body to break down, and it's harder for the digestive system to break it down. So say like you're getting ketchup and it's like no sugar added ketchup. Well, if it's no sugar added, there's something else added in there to make it sweet, which is probably artificial sweeteners. I would say go for the full-on regular ketchup that has regular sugar, because your body's going to be able to break that down a lot easier than something
Sure.
artificial. So you want to look at like more whole food things. So when you remove the common irritation foods, then you have 4 to 6 weeks of like zero symptoms, good digestion, bowel movements every single day, minimal gas, minimal bloating. These are really crucial times, because it's like if you go out and you eat like a piece of chocolate and a cake and ice cream, and then you're like, okay, well, you had chocolate, you had ice cream, you had gluten, you had dairy. Like, what was it? Like, I don't know, right? So it's very important to, when you're going through like those 4 to 6 weeks, that it's like strict. And
Right.
then you start to introduce foods one at a time back in. And I usually like ask my clients, like, what do you want? What are you craving? Or like, I miss yogurt. Perfect. Let's add in yogurt. Or like, people are like, I want cheese. Well, you add in one item that week, and then you see if there's a response. No negative response, great. Well, we don't know. It's not the cheese, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes clients can add everything back in, and all they needed to do is just focus on strengthening those intestinal walls,
Wow.
balancing that gut health, making sure that their garden is healthy, and
Mhm.
then bringing foods back in, and then their body can digest it. They can tolerate it, and then they can digest it properly, and no issues. But if there's an imbalance, if the intestinal walls are weak, and there's like any kind of like SIBO or leaky gut, then that's where there can be issues. Because like some people come like, I eat lettuce and I have bloat. Well, that's where we have to make sure that your intestinal walls in your garden are healthy and balanced, and then those things, it won't happen, right? That was me. Like, everything that I ate, even like a vegetable, would cause me to have bloating. Now, um, after I've done the work, like, I can eat, like, I had yogurt, like, wasn't able to eat yogurt. I can have ice cream. I can have all those
Mhm.
things, right? So it's very like, once you start to do the work and once you start to understand, you're more in tune with your body. And
That's
so
great.
many clients are like, I didn't know that I could feel better than what I did. I thought like feeling bloated and uncomfortable and inflamed was like what I was going to feel for the rest of my life. And then they start to make more healthier choices with their diet. And then they're like, oh my goodness, like, I can actually feel that I'm bloated. Like, I ate this and I'm bloated. So you're becoming more in tune with your body and you're more in control. And that's just a rewarding feeling. And it's just like such like an aha moment, being like, oh my goodness, like, I feel so good. So right away, I would say your diet is the number one thing that I would focus on, removing like highly processed foods,
That's
inflammatory
great.
oils, any like carbonation drinks, or things like that, would probably be the number one thing right away.
Beautiful. I love that. I think a couple things to point out that she said is not all of these things have to be forever. Like, I remove all the things I like forever. There's got to be some seasons where you're getting rid of these things to allow your gut to recover and re-strengthen. Like she said, rebuild those intestinal walls. And so for you guys hearing this of like, well, I don't even want to start because then I'm forever stuck. No, like, you need to give yourself the ability to get in the place where you can eat those foods again. But you might also find, like I have, as I've removed certain things, there's a lot of things I just haven't wanted to add back because I feel so much better. And it's like when I do eat them, I choose and I pick and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna not feel great, but I'm at least armed with that information. But most of the time, I don't want to eat it again because I feel so much better. So I think it's an encouragement for you guys. One, it doesn't have to be forever, but two, you might actually find that it's not as hard as you think because you love how you feel way more than you liked that food at a specific time. Like, I can't eat large amounts of cheese without destroying my stomach. And so I pick and choose, like, hey, it's not worth it to eat the whole bowl of queso anymore. Like I might do that once sporadically, but I'm not going to do it as consistently as I did. I think the other thing, just to reiterate what you said, you've really got two options. I think everyone should try to do what she said of removing some of the things that are inflammatories of the oils or the processed foods, the artificial sugars. But there's also, if you're willing to spend the money, there's some quicker routes to start seeing immediately what's causing issues. And there's plenty of GI tract mapping, there's gut health testing, there's food sensitivity tests that I've been through a lot of them. It's why I've removed a lot of things from my diet. I just don't have the patience for the foods and just eliminating things and trying. I probably should learn some more patience in that. So if you guys are like me and you're like, I'm willing to spend the money, how do I just find out faster? There's definitely some tests you can go down. But at the very least, I think really you guys should be following those recommendations. Even if you don't have gut health issues, you're going to feel way better without artificial sugars, feel way better without, processed food, without these oils. And so I'd recommend doing that for yourself anyways, but you don't have to go necessarily through the whole route of removing every food you like and starting bland. You could just get some testing done like I did. And I found out that there was issues with sweet potatoes, issues with broccoli, issues with most all of cruciferous vegetables that I started to remove. With some of them, like sweet potatoes, I've added back in because my body, I guess worked up the ability to process it. But now I just avoid broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables because I'm like, I don't want to go down the route again. So all I have to say is there's some things you can start to do immediately. There's also some testing you guys can go down. One other question I want to ask is, you mentioned the brain gut connection and how like what you eat correlates to the brain. Talk to me about the other way. And I think you kind of mentioned this a little bit of how like the stress or anxiety or like mental space you're in also goes back down and affects your gut again. And it's like this cycle. Is this something you see a lot with your clients, and what changes can you start to make, mentally you'll see changes in your gut and how your body processes things as well?
Yeah, for sure. So, one other thing I want to mention too is, like I said, like opting for like the sugar in your like ketchup and things like that. But like you also want to make sure that like the difference between like a healthy sugar and like an unhealthy sugar. So like highly processed sugars and carbs are like not going to be good for your gut microbiome, whereas like fruit sugars are like the sugars you want to consume. So people are like, I don't want sugar. Like make sure that you do eat your fruits. Those you need that sugar. You want that good fiber. So another thing too is stress. And I know that we all have stress. A lot of times people are like, I'm not stressed, but it's like your body, everyone can handle stress differently. And there's like mental stress, there's like emotional stress, there's like physical stress, and we're all gonna like be affected differently. For example, like I had a big event a couple weekends ago. My weight was not moving for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. After this big event was over, my body dropped 6 pounds in 1 week because my body released all of that, like that emotional stress that I was holding on to because I was stressing about this event. So I know Cole deals with a lot of like entrepreneurs, right? So there's high stress, high chronic stress, like going here, rushing here, running there, like meeting here, meeting there. So you have to understand that like if you're in that like always in that like running from place to place, you're in that fight or flight, right? When you're in that fight or flight, or you're like always anxious or stressed, or you're like trying to meet a deadline, or you're going from this meeting, you're driving from your car and you're late, you're in that fight or flight. Your body is not primed for digestion. So if you have invested in a program with Cole or any coach, you have to understand that you are taking like your health into your own hands, and that you are focusing on a better lifestyle. Better lifestyle comes down to stress. So chronic stress can alter the balance of the bacteria in the gut, and this can lead to digestive issues. It's essential to manage your stress through any relaxation techniques. So if this is exercise, if this is like any other coping mechanisms like meditation, journaling, yoga, going for walks. So what I want to make a point out is like when you are like anxious, stressed, running from meeting to meeting, and you're eating in your vehicle, or you're eating in a meeting, or you're eating and talking, your body is not digesting your food properly because your digestion is not, your mind isn't focused on your digestion. So you have to know that like eating and sitting down and giving yourself 10, 15, 20 minutes to eat is a form of self-care. So if you're like, what's self-care? That's self-care. You have to understand that like if you don't focus on that, you are going to be bloated, you are going to be gassy, you are going to have some upset stomach and uncomfortable because your body was not ready to digest that food, and now it's struggling to digest it and you're feeling uncomfortable. So scheduling, if you're busy and you have a schedule, scheduling your meal times into your calendar to alleviate some stress, to make sure that your body is primed for digestion. One way to kind of like get your body ready for digestion is taking some deep belly breaths and just relaxing before your meal. That's going to signal your body to the parasympathetic state so your digestion is ready, right? So you want to think about that. And like I said, long-term chronic stress is going to affect the health of your gut microbiome, which is your garden. So if you have long-term chronic stress that you're not addressing, you are weakening your intestinal walls. You are damaging you're not taking care of your garden. So stress is another component that you have to understand to manage. So if your stress is always a 10, what things can you do to bring down that stress to better support your mental health, better to support your digestion, and to better support your body? Like I just said, like I had a 6 pound drop in 1 week because I was dealing with a lot of like emotional stress, right? So once that event was done, like it all released and I was like a weight lifted off my shoulders, there's nothing that I couldn't necessarily do. Like I was still doing all of my exercising, all of my nutrition and everything, but sometimes it's just the stress that you don't know is there until it's like gone and passed and it's done. So as long as you can like um, recognize that and understand that, if you're someone that overschedules yourself, then just look at like, okay, my schedule is too packed. I don't have time for myself. I need to change something. And that's, again, taking your health into your own hands, because all that is going to affect your gut health.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. I think one point that I want to point out that she said at the beginning, which is a eye opener for me, because when I had all of my testing done and saw how high my cortisol stress hormone was, is you may not feel like you're stressed, but your body may totally disagree. The doctors told me like, Cole, your cortisol levels are through the roof. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not stressed at all. And they're like, well, your body says otherwise. And it led to the point of me having some anxiety issues, which I've talked about on past podcasts of, a couple of anxiety attack episodes, and I didn't even feel stressed. My body just processed it differently. And so you may be hearing this, you're like, I'm not a stressed person. That doesn't apply to me. Like, I'd be willing to bet money if you are a driven person listening to this, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an executive, you probably have a lot more stress than you think. And start to be proactive on that, because like Nicole has explained, not only does your gut affect everything in your health, it goes right back up and signals your body to produce more anxiety, more stress, more cortisol. And it's like this never ending cycle. Is if I'm stressed, my gut responds to it, and then it sends back more stress. And so unless I actually do some work to stop this, both with the foods that I'm eating and what I'm putting in my body, but also mentally to fix some of the inner world stuff, you're going to start compounding this cycle of I'm exhausted, I'm tired, my body's not processing stuff, I can't see results, there's anxiety building. So until you put a stop to that and like get some more rest and do some things that'll decrease your stress and start to eat the foods that'll take the stress off of your gut, like you're going to be in a bad spot if you don't make a change. So I encourage you, look at both of those. Look at your stress levels and how you can change them, even if you don't feel like you need to. I promise you do. And then 2, look at the things you're putting in your body, and it's going to pay a lot more dividends you think. Like just the number that keeps rolling in my head is what you said of 80% of your serotonin is produced in your gut. Like if you guys are not hearing those numbers and thinking like 80% of the hormone that makes me happy and not stressed is produced in my gut. So if I don't take care of my gut, I'm not happy and I'm stressed. So that should be waking you up hearing this. I'm so thankful for you're on this episode. I think this has even just been very valuable for me. Like our team does this stuff and is super smart. I don't even have a full understanding of it. And so I've learned a lot from this. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have learned for this. For those of you guys listening to this, this is a big part of why we have added all the functional medicine components to what we do. It's why we've added the testing. It's why our nutritionists are trained on gut health. If you're wanting to, look at Nicole's stuff as well, it's why she's so adamant and such a proponent of gut health, because it plays into everything you do. I just wanted you guys to hear from this episode. It's like much a bigger deal than you think it is. So Nicole, thank you so much. How can they connect with you? If they want to follow you, get resources from you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram. It's at nourish.with Nicole. Facebook, Nicole Trautman. A lot of my content is on Instagram, and I do try to share a majority of like tips on like, hey, you're bloated because of this. Let's do this instead. So I try to share a lot of there. Really well balanced meals as well. I know that we talked about this before as well, Cole, is because like if you're stressed, your cortisol's up, but you also have to understand that like sleep is a very big priority, because like executives and business owners and things like that, like they think that sleep's like the last thing, but like that's also going to affect a lot of things too, because your body's in full recovery when you're sleeping. So if you can focus on nutrition, stress, and sleep, those are like the 3 things that you can really tackle. You're really gonna really support your digestive health. And be patient. Like, don't be like, oh, I lowered my stress and I ate healthy for 3 days. Like nothing's changed. Well, no, because like it takes some time, right? Like you can't grow a garden in 3 days. So just focus on like growing and like establishing a good, healthy garden and how long that takes. And that's why like when you do those elimination diets, you have to take some time. Like I don't do anything less than a 6 month, usually 12 months when you want to focus on a whole elimination diet with a client, because if someone's coming to me that's like a 10 of stress, it doesn't take 2 weeks to lower that stress down, right? So I'm just focusing on that, being patient with yourself. And yeah, that's kind of like an overview on what you can focus on.
So good. So valuable. We'll put her information in the show notes for everyone to be able to go check out our Instagram and some of the resources. She also posts really good recipes of these yummy looking. She makes fun of me because I'll call them like muffin cups, but what do you actually call them? Oat cups or something?
Same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they look awesome and they're apparently healthy and look and taste incredible. So follow for some recipes as well.
Yeah.
We'll put that in the show notes. Any last words you want to leave them before we sign off for everybody? Any encouragements or challenges for everybody?
No, this was great. Thank you so much. I'm obviously very passionate about it, and I love talking about gut health because like it's just what I love to do. So thank you so much for having me, Cole, and it was great.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. I hope you can get some tips and tricks out of this and how to use your gut health to accelerate your results, to not only get better physical results, but to feel better, to perform better, to grow in your life and in your business. You guys are amazing. Thank you for tuning in. The only thing I ever ask on these episodes is if you got value from this, just share it with somebody. Copy and paste that link, share it with a friend, put it on your social media, or leave us a rating or review so that we can help impact more people together. Signing off today. Thank you so much for joining us. Get off the sidelines, step up to the starting line, and go win today. You're a winner. It's who you are. I'll catch you on the next episode tomorrow morning for your winning word of the day. We'll see you later. Bye. There you have it. That is how you can use gut health to accelerate your health results. So pumped that you got to listen to that. Hope that was challenging for you and gave you some true insight on how you can implement gut health into your health routine and how that's going to help you improve every other area of your life, whether it's mental performance, it's your energy levels, it's your confidence, it's your digestion, or it could be just your overall health and you feeling better. So I hope that was valuable. One thing I would love to do is to give you a free resource. If you listen to these trainings and you would love to know how to get started, and you're like, dude, gut health is awesome. All these other things you're talking about is awesome, but how do I just get started? So there's 2 links that we are putting in the show notes that I would love for you to be able to access right below this. Is number 1 is access to a free ebook, a protocol that you can use to set up your workouts and set up your nutrition based off of your body and your goals. Most companies charge a lot of money for this. We're giving it to you for free. So if you'll click the free ebook link in the caption below, that'll give you all those resources to get started with workouts and nutrition. Here's another thing I want to include is if you'd like to be a part of a community with more free trainings like this, just click the link below. That is our free Facebook community. It's called the Optimized Entrepreneur. We do a ton of trainings like this. This training was actually hosted live inside of our community. I do a ton of weekly trainings. We post all of our free resources and we give you as much help as we can so you can accelerate the results in your health, so you can get off the sidelines, step up to the starting line and begin to win. So pumped that you joined us this week. We'll see you on next week's episode. Bye.